As we celebrate Women's History Month, I want to personally spotlight and celebrate all women who have played pivotal roles in shaping our communities, industries, and society as a whole. Women of diverse backgrounds have been essential to the progress, breaking barriers, paving the way for new opportunities, and advocating for a more inclusive world. Hello, I'm Joy Tellis Cooper, proud to serve as your Board of Education member representing District 8. Women's History Month offers us the chance to reflect on and honor the countless women who have used their voices, courage, and leadership to create lasting change. These trailblazers, from business, politics, and education to science, advocacy, and the arts, are just history makers, but mentors and role models for generations to come. Their resilience, brilliance, and strength continues to inspire us to push boundaries, challenge norms, and advocate for equality. Personally, many of my dreams and aspirations have been shaped by remarkable women who laid the foundation for progress, opened doors, and dismantled obstacles, allowing me to serve in this esteemed role today. Among them are personal mentors, families, and friends, including my mother, Reba Daniels, and my aunt, Cynthia Brooks Borns, my financial mentor, Cheryl Harrison, and the late great commissioner of Clayton County, Miss Sona Singleton Gregory, whose legacy lives on in our community. Let the women featured in this video and those honored throughout history remind us to seize every opportunity to be agents of change, raise awareness, and make a lasting impression. Let's not close the books on Women's History Month without carrying forward the spirit of appreciation and advocacy every day of the year.
It's amazing that we get to celebrate the fact that there is a month where there is a celebration of women, in understanding how far things have come. I can't believe that I get to sit in this chair, honestly. So my name is Barbara Casey Lane, and I am the CEO and chairman of the board here at Low Temp Industries, and been here in this county and in the city of Jonesboro for almost 8 decades. We're a manufacturing plant. We have about 140 employees, and we manufacture stainless steel fiberglass bodies that make up a serving line. So a serving line is what you would see in a school. So we've been very proud to have our equipment in Clayton County schools for many years, serving the students here in the county. We also ship across the country to other school districts across the U.S., and we also serve hospitals, business and industry, corporate dining, that type of dining facility. So today I was actually thinking about the fact that I am a product of Clayton County Public Schools and a 3rd generation in our business, but I was also thinking I'm a 2nd generation of Clayton County Public Schools. My dad also went to Jonesboro High School just down the road here, and I still have his class ring, and I wear it to events sometimes, and it means a lot to me because I think about the impact that the community here has had on our lives and on the lives of our employees, still does. I'm really thankful to be here and to grow our company in this kind of environment. My grandfather, who was among the 1st generation, was one of 10. So he had 2 sisters that were originally involved in the business that were officers in the company, and which, was probably very unusual for that time, 7 and 8 decades ago, but they didn't think anything about it because they were siblings. And so they all just worked together, spent a lot of time together, made it work. And one of his sisters actually mentioned to my dad, 2nd generation, hey, Barbara is the oldest and the 3rd, maybe we should get her in here and start teaching her. So I didn't aspire to a particular position, but I was invited in by a female officer in the company to be able to teach me. And she mentored me, she taught me she was the secretary treasurer of the company at the time, and she taught me where the money was coming from. We would go to the bank together every day, and we would make the deposits. So we would go to the post office and pick up the things that were, being mailed to us. We would prepare invoices and pay invoices, so I knew where the money was going. The very basics of business that are truly something that not everybody gets to do. I know that that's a privilege for me, but in terms of what I saw is, I never thought twice about there being females in leadership because that's what I watched. And then when I left the company, I left to get married, which I'm very happy that I did because I'm still married to that wonderful person 36 years later. But going in other industries, following his career for a little while, just realizing that that wasn't necessarily the case everywhere I went. Women didn't quite have the same opportunities. Having been gone 25 years, being invited to come back and be a part of things here was very, very exciting to me. And I've been back about 12 years, was the COO when I first came back to the company, and then I've been CEO for about 3 years now. Women were okay and to be in the office, and there wasn't anything spoken, but it was probably just an understood. And so I really wasn't allowed to go onto the manufacturing floor. And so that was a big change, being gone 25 years and coming back and realizing there was real opportunity. And my dad actually invited me to go out onto the floor with him. And he said, if you really want to learn the business on the manufacturing floor, let's start with shipping and work our way backwards. If there's something that's happening at the shipping dock that needs to be addressed, take a step backwards. And that's what we kept doing. We kept going back to every single step of the process, learning what went into it, learning where the problems were and what needed to be solved. And so I was really thankful for that 2.5 decades that I was gone, that things had changed. So I definitely had excellent female role models. My mom, my grandmothers, 2 great-grandmothers that I grew up with who were widowed very early in their lives. And so they had to make things work. They went to work. They carried all of the, wore all of the hats in the family. So there was no question about, their decision making. They were able to both cook and make business decisions that were, all of the things in between, taking care of children, the family, and a business. So it was very exciting to be a part of that, and it was kind of secondhand, growing up and watching that. Being able to experience in the business world, coming back in and being in a seat where you're making decisions on the behalf of your employees is a whole different ball game. One of the mentors that I had when I came back to the company 12 years ago was a woman named Faye Marion, and she was the first African American person of color to hold a position. She was the HR, and they first started the HR department with her coming into that role. And I sat with her almost every day because I realized there were things that, because of my background, because of honestly privileges that I come to the table with, there were things that I didn't see or understand in terms of really getting a feel for how to care for our employees and to make their lives better, make our company a place where they wanted to come to work, and to understand how important that diversity was. And I spent every day with her. We ate lunch together. We worked through processes. We worked through situations with people that she passed away about 2 years ago. And I still have moments where I wish I could just call Miss Faye and ask her a question and how she would deal with something. That was a tremendous influence in my life. In terms of advice for young women, I think just surrounding yourselves with people who make you better, who don't try to change you and make you into something that you're not, but care about you and speak into your life in a way that's both humble and strong. There is a combination of those two that are very important. And to be a leader, you've got to be both. You've got to make serious and hard decisions at times, but if you're doing it out of humility and care for others, it brings a long-lasting strength and solidity.
The biggest advice that I would give to my younger self is not to be afraid. I feel like I'm fearless already, but I put like my toes in the water and I'm like, should I do that? But no, like, just girl, go ahead and put your whole like body in the water because you got this. Brenda Gutierrez, and what I do currently is I'm marketing and branding manager. Really what inspired me to pursue my career in branding and marketing is that ever since I was little, I've been a creative person. I've always tried to find jobs where I could kind of incorporate that, whether it's in nonprofit roles or even with corporate world. I did start off doing corporate, and then I moved on to the school system and then nonprofit sector. So really now that I ventured off on my own, I've just come to find that I get not necessarily bored, but I am a very creative person and my mind is always going and wanting to do new events, new ideas. Being a long-term sub, I saw the need for, literacy and just where kids were at during that time. And then COVID hit and, we all kind of know where that went. And just being a book advocate and a reader or a reader advocate, then I also was like, okay, well, I would like to start book clubs. I still am a lifelong learner and a reader myself. I feel like it gets my brain going and moving and just, learning new things every day. So ever since 2022, I've been doing small book clubs. And then I actually got invited here last year by Miss Williams here in Forest Park Middle School to do a book club. And what interests me with that was that, it is one of the books that is banned in other schools, but here in Clayton County is actually not. It is a book that, we still could carry here in the library as well as the Clayton County Public Library. Definitely my home ec teacher back in high school. She was a big part of my journey, like sticking to staying in school and not wanting to give up in high school. I am a first generation Mexican American student, and it was a little bit hard for us just being the oldest and everything, and having to do everything in our home. But she actually was an African American teacher, so having that relation with her and those connections actually helped me in high school. Now fast forward to college, I actually had another teacher who was my literacy teacher. And I've been told a lot of the times that they were like, well, it's because you're an English language learner and maybe that's why you're not grasping the writing or understanding certain things. I did drop out of one of my classes, but this teacher was like, no, you actually write very, very well. She's like, it's just, we have to get you there where you need to be. So, she doesn't even know this, but I'm like, I wish I could go back and look at my my classes to find her name and find her on LinkedIn or something. But yeah, she was a big part of it. Now this professor was a Caucasian lady, but she really did see, a lot of my writing, and I had her for maybe 3 semesters. So she kind of helped me get there. Martin Luther King's speech, we actually had to break it down and analyze it and write about that one. So that was something that stuck with me. I actually still have that paper. And I wasn't too confident on it, but she was like, no, we're gonna get you there. Frida Kahlo, she was an artist, but there's a lot of books out there about her and a lot of stories of her that a lot of people actually don't know that I feel like I could relate to. And those are always my go-to books whenever I'm feeling a little bit down and need that motivation. To me, leadership means like someone that says we a lot, not someone that, I never find myself saying I. And I feel like I always put myself like at their, like, I try to be very personable. I think that that's something that a good leader should have, being personable and just having that connection with people, because you don't see it a lot. And when you don't have that leader being personable, it's hard for people to, follow you. And for example, I had one of my CEOs that I used to work with. Every morning that we had a power breakfast, any big events, he was there with us at 7 a.m. setting up. He was getting things out of the car, and he's like, "We got this, y'all." Like, giving us that pep talk before. And kind of just being in the trenches with us, because, everybody was sweating and we were like, oh, we do not want to be here at 5, 6, and 7 in the morning. But just seeing that also made me proud to work for him and kind of be working in side by him, because he wasn't just the face of the nonprofit. He was also there doing work with us. I'm actually a teenage mom, so people were already expecting me to kind of fail and just breaking all those barriers of being, the eldest in my family, getting pregnant at 17, but also still graduating high school and going to Kennesaw State University and getting that bachelor. I feel like just that alone kind of broke that barrier, and just, having my daughter see me do that. And we just kind of all grew up together, myself with my daughter and my husband. We all went to school together. People kind of knew who I was at school because they probably thought I was her nanny, but I'm like, no, this is my daughter. And she would just go to school with me, and having those study dates with her. So I think that's why, she is the way that she is now. So yeah, I definitely feel like I've broken a lot of barriers, but in a good way, because that kind of led to my daughter being the young lady that she is now. I would say that to younger girls who are experiencing tough barriers, like there's nothing out there that women can't do. You just have to have the right mentality. If it's faith-based, spiritual, whatever it is, always go back to that and think of your why. Always have a why. It's not always going to be the same why, and always have like that end goal. And your goals may change. It's not always going to be the same end goal. I know for me, my goal has always been my daughter, and I always go back to my faith. I pray a lot. I take prayer, breaks and stuff during the day. I know some people like to be outside, like to be in green spaces. So whatever that is for that person, take a step back and reflect and kind of see like, okay, let me regroup myself. Just being mentally strong could in itself be kind of hard for people. But women are very powerful. We could do a lot. Like, we have a lot going on, and I feel like we could definitely get through anything.
Being the advocate of the community and the voice, and representing the voice for the voiceless one. And that's, I feel like that's a calling for me. My name is Hue Nguyen. I'm the City Council of City of Morrow. Currently, my professional role is supply chain management, working for a 500 global Fortune company. As a part of a sandwich generation, I feel like it's a calling for me to advocating for our seniors and our children, the one that doesn't have a voice to advocate for themselves or their rights or their essential need for their everyday life. And I feel it's very important people like my age to advocate and have a platform for them. During the pandemic, it's also a change my perspective of life. It made me realize that it's crucial to have a strong community, a good leadership that overcome the challenge time like the pandemic. These experiences have deepened my appreciation of local community, local leadership. The power of unity is important, and the strong supporting one another. The correlation between my professional job and political role are the same because I work in a man-dominant industry. Sometimes people think being quiet, being silent, being shy is considered weak. But for me, it's not weak. It's showing that I'm listening to people. I'm listening what the customer want, what the people, what the citizen want. I'm not talking. So I like to show people with my action. My godmother has been a strong foundation for me. She taught me how to be an agile leader, be confident with my skin, and also know how to give back and have compassion for others. What she taught me all along these years, I always carry with me in my heart. Show up what I believe in and show up for the people that cannot able to show up for themselves. And so I host different series of events to boost confidence of young women and entrepreneur, inspire others to have their own business and not afraid to take risks. And also have something to give back to our earth, Mother Earth too.
stop being selfish. Stop being selfish. I think the minute you stop being selfish and look beyond you, you can see the talent of other people and you can start giving. Tasha M. Mosley, and I am the district attorney of the Clayton Judicial Circuit. Well, I am the only daughter, youngest of my parents, Jonathan and Elizabeth Mosley. Got 3 older brothers, so I've been fighting my entire life because my brothers are significantly older than me, and I always wanted Raisin Bran. You know, when mom goes grocery shopping, you want that Raisin Bran, but my brothers were in their teenage years and they would always eat up all the Raisin Bran before I could get there. So just knowing that, I just want to help people. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Just growing up, I saw people that looked like me that were getting just a negative shot. People weren't giving them a chance, and especially young Black males. And I knew that people were good, inherently good. Get past our color, get past the differences, and they're good. And they just need a step up. They just needed some help. And so that's one reason why I do what I do, and I chose the profession that I am in. Because if I can keep us out of jail, then I know we got a shot. And that's all we need is a shot. When we're given a fair seat at the table, we can hold our own. Freshman year at Southern Methodist University, that was 1990, and SMU was still vested in South Africa. We still owned stock in companies that were heavily vested in South Africa. And that was during the time, Nelson Mandela was getting free, apartheid was still going on. And it was hard to understand at that time why any country was still segregated but equal, because there's no equality when you're segregated. And so realizing that my university was fully vested in them, on Parents' Weekend, I decided with some friends and across all racial backgrounds, we built a shantytown in the middle of campus in front of Dallas Hall, the focal point. And we read up on all the policies, fire codes and everything. We fireproofed it, and we literally slept out there on that cold concrete the entire weekend, protesting our investment. And that started it all. We got the university heard us, and they got rid of the stocks in those companies. And the next thing you know, apartheid is ending. Nelson Mandela became president of the new South Africa, and just that's what started it, and that's what, continued it. I think the biggest challenge is that you're not smart, that you're not worthy, that you did something underhanded to get here, that you must have slept your way to the top. That was the biggest hurdle. I think those were the hurdles that were put in place, and sometimes by people that share the same color of me, that I've done something underhanded. But those were the hurdles, and I chose to ignore them because I know who I am. I know who I belong to. I know that my Father in heaven has a bigger plan for me. So it's just keeping focused. Those foundations, that foundation that my parents laid for all of us children, making sure we went to church every Sunday, Sunday school, main service, Bible school, 5 o'clock when you want to watch the NFL or the NBA games on, you still in church, giving praise unto the Lord. But it's that foundation that I fall on all the time. And I knew who I was and who I belonged to, regardless of what people may say. You can't, as long as you don't touch me, you can talk about me. That's just going to spur me on to bigger and better things, because God has something bigger in this world for me. So I'm just here to do his work. You look at Rosa Parks. You look at Coretta Scott King, those women, their strength to go through the things that they went through. And still, they held their head high and just continued on, strutted on. They didn't let anybody knock them down, even though they tried, even though they spit on them and threw things at them. They continued as big, Black, beautiful women. And those are the women that I looked at. There's so many more. The artists. I'm sitting here thinking, they're running through my head so quickly, like Alice Walker, her books, Maya Angelou. These women stood strong. And you heard about all of the negative things that they went through in their lives, but they stood strong. And so it was like, I can't fail. I refuse to fail. These women, got up from their failures and they moved on, and look at what they've done for us women, period. Not just Black women or women of color, but women in total. They demanded things. Ethel Hedgeman Lyle, the beginning, the founder of our sorority, when she told them we will not be in the back of the line when it comes to the women's suffrage movement. We are worthy. We will stand there and fight. Nellie Quander, look at what she has done. As most people can now realize, I'm an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman, but she incorporated us. And what most people didn't understand about the incorporation, look at how she incorporated us. That we can have a super PAC, that we have our own, credit union. Over 100 years later, she saw it. She understood how this country was going to change and how to take advantage of the laws that were put there. So yeah, those are some of the women. Not everything's a fight. Not everybody's an enemy. That there were some people that you fought that really weren't your enemies, and to pull back. I think that's it. And then at the same time, not everybody's your friend. They said they were, they acted like they were, but in tough times, they were the first ones to flee and the first ones to talk about you. So that's probably what I would tell my younger self. Yeah. Leadership is making sure I see the talent in other individuals and help them to develop that talent. So one of the first things that I do with people that come into my office, it's what do you want to do? Where do you see yourself 20 years from now? Including, investigators, prosecutors, because nobody should want to work for somebody the rest of their life. What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? And then building that road to get them there. And sometimes you might fall a little short, but it's okay to fall a little short as long as you've got a dream, because you're going to get close to it. Dr. Benjamin E. Mays said, build that dream, reach for that dream. If you fail to get there, that's okay. I'm paraphrasing because it's not exactly it, but you've got to have that dream. And I think what happens nowadays, we forget to tell our kids to dream high. Don't just dream let me just graduate from high school. Dream to be that doctor, that lawyer, that astronaut. You never know. So to the women out there, remember from whence you came. You came from a woman. Don't forget that. So we must help each other. It's not our job to tear each other down. There's enough people out there that will do it for us. It's not my job. Now, will I fight? Like, if you get in my face, and yeah, I'll fight you. I don't want anybody to make that mistake. I'm a fighter because I'm a Black woman. It's in my DNA. It's in our DNA. Our ancestors fought to stay alive. Our ancestors fought for the basic rights that we have to this day that they're trying to erode. So never think that I won't fight for them basic rights, and I'll fight for you. I'm just tired of fighting you. That's what I'm tired of. We're so busy fighting one another and tearing each other down. Nobody else needs to do it, because we do a darn good job. So to the sisters out there, stop being selfish. Remember, you came from a woman, and that woman gave you everything that you needed. Nourishment, life, everything for 10 months. Then pushed you out and still took care of you. Remember that. Sometimes we got to take care of each other until we are able to take care of others.